Guys, welcome back to 1776 or Bust. So today on the table, I'm going to show you a firearm that this channel actually has had on before, and it is a PX4 Storm. Now, this is no ordinary PX4. This is actually the compact carry. So for those of you who are not aware, the PX4 Storm is kind of one of these strange guns that Beretta released probably going on maybe 15 years ago. And I think most people would say that the gun came out and there was some, I guess, argument that the gun was a little strange looking. And it sort of is. Like, even now when you look at it, it is a sort of a really, really strange looking firearm compared to some of the things that we're used to. Now, when they did come out with it, they have a full-size model. They actually have the compact that I have here, and then also a subcompact. Both the full-size and the compact both have rotating barrels, and I'll show that to you in a moment here. And the subcompact has a regular barrel. There's no rotation of that barrel whatsoever. It's tilting. This one, however, is a little bit different than the one that I had earlier on the channel. If you remember, I did have an all FDE compact. Great gun, shot really well. Very, very nicely put together. But eventually I wound up selling it, like I do most things at this point. But this gun kind of intrigued me, thanks to KS Gun Guy. He was telling me that he loved the gun. He bought one, was enamored with the trigger. He said the trigger was something that was just unexplainable in regards to the take up and then obviously the reset. So once I get this to the table and I show you, I'll go through all of that, but I would agree with him that this trigger is pretty damn good right out of the box. Obviously it's had some things done by Langdon Tactical, which makes it kind of, I guess, a hybrid Beretta / Langdon Tactical. And it does come with a lot of decent features. This is a bit pricey. Right now, they're getting harder and harder to find. So you're going to probably ballpark it anywhere from $1,000 to potentially maybe like $890, $900. And that's basically the ballpark that I found this firearm in. But again, it does come with a lot of different features. It is a little bit more advanced in regards to the shootability and some of the features that it has on here compared to the regular compact. And we'll get right on to that right now. So stay tuned and let's get to the table. All right, guys, welcome back to the table. And on the table, you see the PX4 compact carry. Now, what is really so different? Like, why does this gun command such a high price? Well, it's not really necessarily on the outside, but it sort of is, I guess. And the reason why I'm saying that is because really the magic happens on the inside on this lower, and we'll get to that in a second. But some of the features on this gun versus, let's say, the standard PX4 is going to be what they call their stealth levers here. Now, there's also kind of a thing with this that I actually like out of the box. Every compact carry is a G model. So what that basically means is when I had my original compact, it was actually an F model. So what you would do is you'd pull down on the lever. Once you release the lever would stay down, making the gun unfireable. Now you'd have to push the lever back up. The gun would actually be able to be shot at that point. But I wasn't a big fan of that, so I wound up converting it to a G. Now, out of the box, this is already a G model, which I prefer. That's just my method of preference when it comes to any Beretta. I really like having the G models. I really wish they'd get rid of the F models and just go with the Gs, because I think most people would actually like to have that instead. Now, one of the other things they do is they have a reduced slide lock or slide release, whatever you want to call it. But you can see that it is a little bit closer to the frame. The original one actually would stick out a little bit more and actually sort of looks like it would extend out a little bit too. It also had a little bit of a sharp edge to it. So that's kind of the difference between that, and it is not ambi. You can see that they've removed that piece there and plugged it up with a piece of plastic or polymer, which is kind of maybe one of the only downsides of it, because it does look kind of cheap, but hopefully that won't fall out and cause any problems. Also, you can see that the stealth levers are very, very close to the top of the slide. The original levers that came with this actually stick out again a little bit more, with a little bit of more of a sharp edge to it, which was something that I mentioned, I believe, in my first video of my FDE model. Now, the internal parts of this are no different than any other PX4 when it comes to the slide. Everything you see here is what you'd see in any other PX4. There is no difference. The guide rod's the same. The barrel is the same. Really, everything is the same. So there really isn't much to talk about in regards to the internal part of this. You're also going to know that this does come, or notice that this actually does come with night sights. These are Ameriglow front night sights. So you can see you have the bright reddish orange with a tritium insert and then a blacked out rear. Side picture is very good, and I think that's a bonus for this particular model. Also, aesthetically wise, you can see that you do have a gray Cerakote to the slide. Again, you know, does it really matter if it's gray or black? I don't really know. I guess it's preference. What I can say is because this has a little bit more texturing from the Cerakote on it, it just seems to me that there's a little bit more of a grippiness to the slide, which makes it a little bit easier to manipulate than the original one. The original one was pretty slick. The FDE one had that same texturing like this, but what I did notice on other models that I've actually manhandled, I can tell you that they were always very, very slick. So that's just something I know is the difference between this versus, let's say, just a regular PX4. So let's take a look at the lower. So if you were to go on Beretta's website, what you're going to find is that they call this their competition trigger group. So basically what they say about it is that there is a special hammer and springs, and then the chassis itself is fully chromed. All parts are treated to ensure the long life in regards to, I guess, all types of different conditions. I'm not exactly sure if it's treated with what. It doesn't say, so I really don't know what to tell you on that. However, you can tell that it is very, very smooth texturing. You can feel it. There's nothing on there, no burrs. You know, sometimes you get a gun and you can feel a little bit of like a metallic burr in certain places. This one, you don't feel that anywhere. It is a very, very, very smooth, very, very nice feeling trigger pull. And I think the entire system combined is really what is worth the price for this firearm. You know, right now, a regular compact, you probably get about $600, which sounds crazy, but you know, they're getting rare to find. But you can probably find them around $600, and for maybe about $250 more, maybe $300 more, you can get a gun that's already going to be completely done for you. You have it as a G model, you have night sight, Cerakoted slide, the stealth levers here on the side. I mean, it's just a lot of different things about this firearm that really, in my opinion, make it a good firearm. So what I'll do is I'll put the slide back on, and we'll talk a little bit about the trigger pull. So the trigger pull. Now, when I went onto their website, they mentioned that this is a steel trigger. Again, I said before, I don't know, man. This doesn't seem like a steel trigger to me, but that's what they're saying it is. So I'm just going to go by what they say, even though it doesn't seem to be the truth. Again, when I also read about the competition trigger, they're saying it reduces the trigger pull in single action by about 30%. Now, when I did my original PX4, the FDE model, the trigger pull the double action was pretty heavy. It was about a 12-pound double action, and I think I got this, eventually when I put the D-spring in, I got it down to about like 8-ish, maybe a little bit higher than that. And then the single action was around, you know, like a 5-pound, potentially 5.5-pound trigger pull. So it wasn't terrible. Now the question is going to be, is this any better? So let's find out. So you can see my first double action trigger pull is 6 pounds, 12 ounces. £6, 13.4 ounces, and we'll do it again for posterity purposes. 6 pounds, 9 ounces, for a grand total of 6 pounds, 11.5 ounces. So it's about the same double action trigger. One of the things I did notice is that the PX4 has a good trigger to begin with. The thing that I'm noticing about this one, and maybe it's just my imagination, who the hell knows, but I will say that the double action seems a little bit smoother on the take-up. There's not a lot of stacking. So you get to about there. Right about there, you can feel where the maximum spring tension is. And then just a little bit further, it breaks. But it's a really nice break, very controllable, not really that big of an issue. But I do want to show you the reset before I show you what it's ringing up as. So this is a reset on the trigger. Woo, that is short, man. And there's no take-up. I mean, it's really like short reset, barely any take-up, and then just a clean, smooth, just an amazing single action. Right there, that's it. Now, just to kind of give you a heads up, this may not look like much, but I can tell you on my original PX4, here was the reset about out to here. And then you had a little bit of take up, and then eventually it would break. So to me, this has actually cleaned this trigger up considerably. Let's see what this pulls at a single action. So 4 pounds, 1 ounce. Do that again. Ooh, 3 pounds, 4.7 ounces. Pretty nice. And then 4 pounds, 3.9 ounces. That's a little bit heavy, I think, than I think it should be. So your average is 3 pounds, 13.8 ounces. So very, very close to a low 4, but still under 4 pounds on that single action. So for me, that in itself, all of it adding up makes this gun worth it to me just right out of the box. I mean, I'm looking at 3 magazines, the ability to have some Talon grips here if I want to, the G model decocker, the competition group hammer springs, the steel trigger, and the night sights with the Cerakoted slide, the stealth levers, you name it. I mean, there's so many good things about this gun right out of the box that for me says, boy, this seems pretty good. I mean, it seems pretty good. I can't wait to shoot this. This is another gun that I've been pretty excited to get and really, really excited to shoot because I get a feeling this is going to be a hell of a lot of fun. And unlike the FDE, this one's going to be keeping with or staying with me because of the fact that these are becoming very, very rare to find. More and more you're seeing Beretta kind of move away from their APX line, their PX4 line, and they're doing some other cool things. I know the M9A4 is coming out soon, which is pretty sweet. But I mean, so far out of the box, this is to me, this is probably worth the money that is spent on it because I really do think it has a lot of great features. I mean, it's hard to pass up 3 magazines, night sights, Cerakoted slide, and a great trigger and think that you're going to find something a little bit better. Now, could I have bought this, you know, without that price tag and then slowly and gradually done the other things? I mean, I could have gone to Langdon Tactical and got the trigger bag and a job, but that's like a $200 trigger job. So when you think about that, you know, normally you find these about $550, $600 online in the compact version, if you can even find them, and that's usually an F model. So you add the $200 to that, you're already at $800. You go to the stealth, you know, the stealth levers here, you're talking probably like another $50, maybe $70. And then some of the other things, the night sights, all that other stuff included, you're well over the price tag that you're going to pay for this out of the box. So I do think this is actually a good buy. If you can get one, I would suggest you do. This is kind of one of those guns that just feels good in the hand. I mean, ergonomics, they feel great, just kind of holding it. And that single action is just amazing, guys. It's freaking amazing. So now what I also want to do is I want to show you some of the other guns that I would consider some of my primary carry firearms, just kind of give you a comparison in size. So this is my MR920. Love this gun. Carry this quite a bit. And you can see that it is a little bit longer in the slide. It shouldn't be a surprise. But I want to say it's about the same thickness. It's kind of weird because this one is a little bit more curvy than blocky, obviously. Grip size, you know, if I don't have that magwell versus this grip size right here, I'd say the 920 is about the same size in grip length, so I don't think that's a big problem. Now, of course, the way it sits on your hand, you guys can see the MR920 sits a little bit lower in regards to the slide height. However, the PX4 is not that bad. I mean, it doesn't sit all that high on your hand. I would say it maybe a third of an inch higher. But again, don't quote me on that. Now, obviously, this gun is clear as well. There's nothing in it. And what I'll do is I will actually put this in half cocked versus this one. And just kind of feeling the trigger take up. So right there is my MR920. And it's interesting because even in double action, it does feel very similar. The reset on the MR920, which is pretty solid, is a little bit longer. It's a little bit longer. It's a little bit grittier, which is kind of interesting than that one there. I mean, it's just, whew, that thing is damn good. So, of course, I will show you and compare it in size to this guy, which has become my favorite carry firearm right now. And this is my 365 with my Icarus Precision lower. This is the Elite lower coming soon, guys. But, you know, I've been carrying this for a little bit, and I've got to say, guys, it feels pretty good. But, again, pretty comparable in regards to comfort in the hand. Obviously, thickness-wise, you know, the PX4 is going to be a thicker puppy than the 365. But overall, this can be managed and carry as opposed to not being carried. Again, one of my all-time favorite guns. This is my P01 in green. I did some trigger work on this thing, and I've got to say this trigger is pretty damn smooth, so let's see. Now, honestly, if I was going to tell you the truth, guys, because I always tell you the truth on these videos, my P01 trigger is better than this. It just is. But I have Apex parts in here. I've got M-Carbo parts in here. Just a combination of stuff that has just made this trigger and this hammer just feel amazingly smooth. And yeah, I definitely think it's a little bit smoother of a take up. Let's see the single actions in both. I mean, the travel of both triggers is about the same. And yeah, it's about the same. So single action, these guns are about the same. So, I mean, I paid for some of the stuff that I put in here. So this gun cost me more than probably it should have. But then obviously out of the box, it's still a little bit cheaper than what I put into that P01. And it's still a damn good gun. So, I mean, overall, what do I think? Well, I think it's pretty obvious. You get 3 magazines, night sights, Cerakoted slide, stealth levers, competition trigger kit with all the springs and the hammer and everything else. Guys, it's hard to go wrong with this gun. I mean, this could be, I think, Beretta's finest carry firearm. You know, I do like the APX quite a bit, but there's just something about that rotating barrel, which you guys can see right there. And just the fact that it's kind of got that unique look to it, but not over the top unique, like let's say that APX. But nonetheless, man, if you can find one and you can get one for a good price, whether it's used or new, I'd be all over it because this gun is fantastic. So leave those comments down below. Tell me what you think about the PX4 Storm compact carry. What is your experience with the PX4 line, if you have any? And if not, why didn't you ever get one? What was the deal? What caused you not to want to get a PX4? So I'd love to hear those or see those comments. Leave those comments below. Give us a thumbs up and share and like this video because that always helps the algorithms of mystery. But nonetheless, great firearm, guys. Have a great day. Stay safe. And as always, freedom is never free.